Hello, this is Freud Cigar here, and this is a video response to Stefbot's, FreedomMain Radio's, Statism and Intervention. I often find it quite amusing to have people tell me what I am. For example, you're an atheist, a liberal, a left-winger, a statist. I often wonder if I, or anyone for that matter, can be so easily encapsulated by one, or perhaps two nouns. I do not necessarily object to the claim. However, it is often the semantic usage of the term being applied that can make one pause. This video was lovingly referred to me such that I might open my eyes, remove the scales, and walk in a sense of nirvanic enlightenment with one such as Stefbot. Although I very much do enjoy his videos on general philosophical topics, I must take issue with some points in this video. Stefbot defines statism as the belief that the government is the best way to solve complex social issues such as drugs, poverty, education, care of the elderly, etc. He goes on to state that government, or control by the state, necessarily entails the use of violence or coercive measures to achieve the desires of the population. A little bit of research shows that this differs from the accepted opinion as described in the Wikipedia definition that states that statism is, number one, the government having a major role in the direction of the economy, both through state-owned enterprises and indirectly through central planning of an overall economy, the concentration of economic controls and planning in the hands of a highly centralized government, or the fascist concept of statism, which holds that the basic concept that sovereignty is vested not in the people but in the national state, and that all individuals and associations exist only to enhance the power, the prestige, and the well-being of the state. The fascist concept of statism repudiates individualism and exalts the nation as an organic body headed by the supreme leader and nurtured by unity, force, and discipline. Nowhere within this definition do I see any mention of the word violence to achieve one's aims. It can be noted, however, that the fascist doctrine, as a natural organic concept, would lead to such violence, or discipline, as evidenced by the events of the past century. So I need to stop and ask myself, as apparently a statist, do I see evidence of my government, albeit a democratic one, using violence against its citizens to achieve collectively desired goals? Well, as in most things, this is a matter of perspective. Democratic governments serve as a balance between the needs and freedoms of the individual as placed against the needs of the greater community. While I agree that the best solutions are not always possible, the most practical solutions are often put into place to secure the rights and freedoms of the individual, while still serving the needs of the greater society. I may not personally have anything wrong with drug use. However, I do not wish to be confronted by someone under the influence while driving my car. In that sense, I grant the individuals who I have helped to elect the right to preserve my security, while safe in the knowledge that the accused has his rights protected as well. I do not see the enforcement of tacitly agreed on laws as necessarily leading to the violence committed by the state. I completely agree with the statistics that you have quoted. In general, this generation, living in Western countries at least, is worse off than that of their parents. However, I reject your claim that the creation of the welfare state is the root cause of this problem. Economic pressures resulting from globalization, scarcity of resources, the movement into an information-based economy, and lack, dare I say it, lack of government interference, as suggested by Part 1 and 2 of the Wikipedia definition, into financial sectors are some of the causes of this problem. I think that what we have viewed in this video is someone that generally is pretty insightful, is feeling the pinch of the tax season. The thought of why should I pay for the services I don't directly see, help the people I don't know, question the effectiveness of the management of the system is a natural outgrowth of the season. It would be wonderful if we could support the government programs that we like and thus pay taxes for them. and refuse to pay for the programs that we suspect are mismanaged and unfair. We see tax time as forced theft, a rape of our purse, yet enjoy the services that those taxes provide for the rest of the year. You paint a picture of the government dressed in black suits and fedoras, with guns hidden under their coats, showing up at your door and demanding your hard-earned money from your calloused, quivering, tired-from-work hands. The state is run by mafia, in your opinion, and you must pay for their protection from the other mafias in the world. My. This is a truly heroic view. Although quixotic and currently trendy, given such films as Zeitgeist, I must say that I do find it a tad bit parochial for such a great mind, and it does appear as if someone is simply complaining about the tax man under the guise of an intellectual sermon. One final comment. I find your comments on education to be disturbing. While it is true that in North America the quality of education may be declining, the suggestion that to throw in the towel and dismantle our system is simply ridiculous. Other countries with far stricter, and yes, violent governments do a good job with basic literacy and numeracy skills. These countries have larger teacher-to-student ratios and far less money to spend on individual students. Yet these students score at the top levels in world rankings of mathematics, science, and literacy skills. The reason that we are failing our students in North America is not a simple one. Although curriculum requirements have doubled or perhaps even tripled over the years, it can be noted that evaluation standards have dropped. Students learn all too often to have strong opinions without ever having them be properly evaluated. We disregard facts in our society and enjoy factless opinions. We have allowed videos to teach our students because the teachers are overworked and stressed. We lose good teachers due to burnout, and more fundamentally, I think, we can't define any clear goals as to what the purpose of our education system is. Do we educate students to be knowledgeable, or do we educate such that they might find future employment? But if you dismantled the public system, much like how the lack of oversight and regulation has led to this current economic collapse, as suggested by 1 and 2 of the Wikipedia definition, so too any hope of reasonable standards in our curricula, professional development, and even the hope of a defined goal for education. We need enforcement of standards. Without them, there can be no education. The rich will always be able to achieve a first-rate education. However, it should be our goal to make sure that money is not a factor and never will be a factor in achieving education. Take away the public system and you leave the poor to be educated at the hands of the unqualified, the preachers, and the religious zealots that don't care about truth, only indoctrination. This is my fear. But, gentle viewers, take heart and have hope. The way out of our current problem is to remember the hard work of previous generations, to remember the importance of education and basic skills, and to rebuild the regulatory nature of government. The days of the laissez-faire politician are at an end. The days of an unregulated system must end. We need to know that someone is watching and enforcing the rules. Thank you ever so much for your time. Feel free to comment, rate. Thanks so much. Goodbye.